certainly been in the best form early on this summer. Big statement win for Golden Guardians if they can pick up the dub here.
All right. Standard now. Sweeper starts for both junglers as they'll be looking for those early wards. Saw in the last game, trying to group around for experience for your solo laners as well to give them that edge. And it looks like with this grouping here for the Golden Guardians, they may go for an invade. Definitely have to be very careful about Lux, but Olaf is very powerful early on. If you land one axe, you can land them all.
Nisqy also dodging the Anivia stun. Froggen had that early on for the level 1, but not a big detriment in lane. Zeyzal continuing to spy these brushes with Lucent Singularity, but Golden Guardians not deterred. They are really moving into the jungle here, trying to get down some vision. Actually roaming back around the wolf camp. This is very tricky.
Oh,
Sweep it down. Now they're going to go in for it. Poking onto Svenskeren. Damage is down. Arcane come up procs, but C9 did get the ward kill.
I like it. You know, they're trying to defend their vision super early into the game. They're using the ward as bait. Go for a little bit of harassment there. Find some damage and retain control of the blue buff side of C9's jungle. So they're going to try and split the map here. Now, let's see if they can actually pull off the complete split. Zeyzal's poking around with Lux, so they know that Golden Guardians are going to start on this blue side of the map. That should signal to Svenskeren, as well as Nisqy and Licorice, which are the more important parts of this. You know, your solo laners pushing up to see if they will be able to get that split jungle corridor.
And it's interesting to split this map, because usually you look at mid lane and it's like, okay, which mid laner can get the push and maybe help out the jungle, but there's a lot of farming between Anivia and Azir.
Yeah, and I really do like how immediately it's a whole game plan here. You just saw Froggen move on the first wave over to push that ward in the river, that ward to try and see when Rek'Sai tries to go answer, because usually you'll split the map and you'll just trade jungle quadrants, where blue side is going to use this jungle quadrant, and then Contractz is already down in this jungle quadrant, as you can see, and they kind of trade those ones that are usually for their opponents. Right now, Svenskeren's pathing to the top side, so he might actually even be able to route around that Anivia ward.
Contractz again roaming out, but Nisqy going to spot him on a ward this time, but full clear on the blue side there. But Contractz actually sweeps down, sees the ward, and gets a little bit of extra vision score for himself. And Svenskeren, a little slower, has now finished to the red side, and he's going to roam down towards the top side / blue quadrant of the jungle for Golden Guardians.
And I know that we're drawing a lot on this map, but it's
more noodles, Kobe.
It's so important. Mid lane and top lane, as we said, pushing up to help out with Svenskeren to go for this invade and steal that blue buff. It's a full team play here for C9 to make sure that Svenskeren does not get 3 buff, because Olaf is so strong, and already Contractz now healed back up, and he goes to try and chase Rek'Sai out of that side of the jungle. Now you can see there is nothing left for Svenskeren to farm. It's just the Scuttle Crabs. The entire jungle is gone because of the start from the Golden Guardians. Pretty well played early invade plan.
Crab, though, goes over to Svenskeren. Of course, there's still one on the bottom side as Sven pops the Scry's Bloom, and we'll get the information. His Contractz there with the Tremor Sense as well, but again, nothing for Svenskeren to do. There's no jungle right now on his side of the map, so going to go for the Grump instead.
Yeah, these are the big brain jungle moments where all the action in the game is about trying to maneuver the junglers around the early camps. And it's just about the laners getting those deep wards, pushing up their lanes to try and help out junglers.
There we go, flash root! Svenskeren, they're going to look to line it up. Hauntzer, nowhere to really flash. They're going to get knocked up and taken down. It's first blood and well-deserved for Svenskeren.
Exactly, he knew if he flashes, Svenskeren immediate flashes too, and he's dead anyways. Big, big move here from C9. With all of the early maneuvering from Golden Guardians, you put in so much work, and you're like, all right, we're starting that blue. We're coming back over. We're going to defend our blue side. We're going to, get all of these jungle camp advantages. Even if there's nothing for Svenskeren to farm, he'll turn his eyes towards champions. And these are those scenarios where, as Golden Guardians, you feel bad with all that work that you did, only to have a first blood go over to the enemy jungler that has no other options but to go for a gank on that side of the map where they know that he is. I've definitely felt those feelings before. You put in so much work as a jungler, and you feel like your opponent just has so few options, but the one option they have open does work out. That is a huge, huge bonus for C9 and for Svenskeren because that timing allows all the camps to respawn. So now he's got everything back. It's all up to level 2 camps now, and he can farm back away.
Credit to Licorice as well. Beautifully set up there with the E-Flash, I believe. But Svenskeren didn't know to Sailor Blades, but certainly going to help out in any sort of aggression versus the Olaf. But back to clearing now for the Rek'Sai. He, as you mentioned, does get the rest of his blue side jungle finally as Olleh roaming around, but not much to see.
They're going to stop on a ward there. Contract's going to get a little bit of extra vision out here down on the river as well. Try and protect around this dragon and around that bottom lane. I like those deep wards, actually. Are going to see a lot of the early roams from C9. Anytime you get around this 5-minute mark where the supports are getting their first recalls off, that's where we get so much of the movement that can really bring confrontation. You see Contractz sits around. Control ward from Zeyzal is placed really early in the river, and everybody kind of playing around it.
Sneaky TPing back to lane. It's actually triple TP on both sides here. Spellbook for Froggen as well. As he'll be able to unlock other options as the game kicks on. Nice. Ooh, he just missed actually. Zeyzal with the right idea, but does not see Contractz.
Hold strong there. Puts down the control ward as well, just to make sure. And then you can start up Dragon. Olaf, one of those jungle champions, very easily can do early dragons. Mountain Dragon also the slowest attacking, so the least DPS Dragon. Froggen trying to run interference here. The ward still survived outside of Dragon, so they know it started, but they can't do anything about it.
Svenskeren actually maybe going to just try for a 50-50. Early Mountain always nice to get. They're going to go in for it. It's Olaf that grabs the Contractz, punches out. Nisqy cannot find the Emperor's Divide, and now Sneaky running away from Olleh, but about to get devoured, getting slapped down there. Olleh still going, must have used the W already as the egg is out for Anivia, but Olleh does get sneaky. Nisqy still fighting and trying to take down Anivia, but Contractz will protect his mid laner. And now Nisqy moving back in, looks for Olleh. Finally procs the E, and now going to turn it back around. Devour back up. Olleh spits him out and Deftly shoots him down.
Oh my goodness, we need the mega zoom out for this one to keep track of both areas on that fight. Golden Guardians get the re-engage. Nisqy on Azir goes in. Big mistake right next to Olleh, who gets off the 3rd stack on the passive. Devours Azir, spits him back out for the extra kill. And I believe they got the dragon secure as well with a really nice coordinated timing. Definitely says, hey, I'm shooting my arrow right over the wall. This is out of vision. Time your smite appropriately so it allows Contractz to win the smite fight. Flash over the back of the wall. And that was just extreme coordination. Look at this. Deftly heads over, fires off the arrow. GGS have perfect vision of it, so Contractz really, really nice timing there. Knows the arrow's coming in. Then Deftly turns right back around because Olleh goes in on his sneaky. Tahm Kench able to find so much pressure here. Flashes in, gets the stun kill. Olleh's Tahm Kench, you can tell why they really prioritized it for him. Super comfortable pick. Then Nisqy chased over Froggen. He egged him and went for the kill onto Olleh, who still has thick skin. Stacks up the passive again, devours them into another kill for Golden Guardians. Absolutely insane early game from the last 2.5 minutes, I guess.
And that was only a 4v4, as both top laners didn't have TP and were busy pushing up against each other. So first Mountain goes to Golden Guardians, first engagement goes their way as well. Gold still even, but the bonus Drake always nice and not reflected there as Froggen gonna grab himself blue number 1.
Whew, yeah. Froggen, remember, after a bottom lane play like that where so much happens, and you can see there were 2 fights going on the same screen, basically, you have to keep track of all the summoners and all the passives that are blown. Froggen got egged, also doesn't have flash. Meanwhile, bottom side, though, they're going very heavy.
Good angle there from Deftly, not getting rooted by the feathers. But Sneaky standing his ground, able to get a nice trade for himself. Svenskeren also roaming down with the sweeper is going to spot Olleh and the control ward in the tri-bush.
Remember, this is first blood Rek'Sai still. Svenskeren got that early money. He used that to fund an early warrior completion here. Rek'Sai level 6 with warrior Hail of Blades is so much burst damage. He has to be respected. And C9 definitely have a point of power in their jungler once again.
We can see Contractz back down to the bottom half of the map. A lot of attention being put here in these early stages as Froggen pushes the wave in and goes for a roam. Still plates to be collected, not even 10 minutes through this game. Golden Guardians instead going to roam through together and try and get vision and continue to track Svenskeren. See the blue buff going on. Olleh does get confirmation that Nisqy is there taking the blue. And mid lane will continue to be kind of a farm fest here.
Yep, Anivia with blue buff. Very effortless wave clear here for Froggen. Put out your ultimate. 2 spells is going to be a cannon wave, no problem. Meanwhile, Azir should be able to clean up fairly quickly there for Nisqy as well. And it allows Froggen on this Anivia to roam down once again with Contractz. They're really focused on the bottom half of the map and all of the wards through the river right now. You can see there's so many of them littered there for the Golden Guardians trying to keep control of this dragon area.
Froggen eating some damage there. It's Comet to Nisqy there in mid lane, so wants a bit more early presence in the lane. Going for the more scaling lethal tempo. Also, top lane for Licorice is once again Glacial Augment. We've seen press the attack already today, actually, but not the option here for Cloud9, who are favoring more of that teamfight power from the Neeko.
Both teams looking for some AP burst, probably. I expect the Gunblade upgrade from Hauntzer rather than the full Blade of the Ruined King. Especially since, if you look at the team composition here, Golden Guardians, whoa, never mind, fight.
Here we go with the ulti! Boom! Ooh, nice stopwatch. I spoke too soon, but not enough there for Contractz who does die to Sven.
And Sven still gets the kill, even though his solo laners came over, and sometimes, most of the time, you'll see jungler, especially like Rek'Sai, be like, okay, I'll give some money over to the Azir, big scaling, late game DPS mage. Nah, not this one. Gonna take that for himself. He likes the burst damage that he got early off that first blood. We saw it in action here with the full completed warrior. And Svenskeren's gonna get killed number 2, plus Rift Herald.
Pretty good day to be a jungler in the LCS. Kobe has popped Blossom, popped onto Hauntzer, who counters with the slicing Maelstrom, so ults traded there in the top lane, but Licorice still looking good in the 1v1.
Yeah, looking really good. Take a look at the number on the turret. Meanwhile, bottom!
Yeah, Zeyzal already low, gonna pop out the Prismatic Barrier, nice flash out of the wall, and Nisqy's here, looking to play Scoopsies there with Olleh. There's the egg for Froggen as this Zeyzal's ulti picked him off, and now with the Featherstorm, they're gonna try and get the egg, but there's Olleh, devours up and pops back into the soup shield once again, and now Sneaky running out of the way. The E is almost enough with that chill to take down Sneaky.
Woo! Definitely cutting it close on that one, and once again, the Tahm Kench, highly prized by the Golden Guardians and not many others, really paying off for them. Olleh is able to get the Devour. They save the member. Mountain Dragon number 2 is under attack. Nisqy's still here with full life, though, and he will not be trifled with.
Again, Comet proc there for Deftly. Gets a Q and pokes him down nicely, but C9 wants to fight for this. Froggen going to roam back over, and I think now Cloud9 realize that don't really have enough of an advantage to try and make a play, but perhaps once again I've spoken too soon.
Zeyzal's headed down with the Lux. They even up the numbers. C9 looking like they want to go.
Oh, Nisqy with the flank TP in from Licorice as well. Hauntzer not pulling the trigger just yet. The Drake goes over to Golden Guardians, but Olleh will be forfeit as a result. Rek'Sai ulti, good flash there from Deftly as Licorice able to find the pop blossom after the root there onto Froggen. No egg and no chance there as Licorice TP's down for the kill.
Oh, looks like they're still chasing too.
Oh, nice snipe from Zeyzal.
That's what he was doing. Svenskeren kept on the chase, was trying to keep some vision there for themselves. Zeyzal right down the middle there next to the tower does make it easier to hit those skill shots when they're next to terrain because they don't have any other options, and that also opens up the Rift Herald. You get to proc it on mid lane. That is going to be so much turret money to the Azir, plus the mid turret itself gonna go down, and Cloud9 just explode at the dragon fight. Red
buff steal, Licorice's TP made the Golden Guardians pay as Nisqy will finish off the first turret and its remaining plates with a bit of help there from Shelly.
All right, meanwhile, topside, Licorice has gotten back up there to deal with Hauntzer. Hauntzer got 1 plate for himself during all of that, so definitely not worth. Let's take a look at this and how it all happened. Remember, Golden Guardians forcing on this dragon, they did initially get it, but you could see with the focus from C9 all were just looking for damage on champions. Nobody even looked at the dragon. They didn't really care about the early Mountain Drake for themselves. They wanted to make the big play on the dragon, and that Scryer's Bloom, that's what it was. Svenskeren getting out of the ground, popping that one, keeping vision for Zeyzal. So heads up on that play. They still see him, and then Rek'Sai passive ping as well. Nicely lined up.
Good accuracy there from Zeyzal. Always nice to see Luxport pick up a kill or two, and actually use 2 of them. 2-0-2 there for Zeyzal, looking good early on.
That was actually such a sick pro view to be able to see all the little bits of information that added up to that snipe. All right, take a look on top side, though.
Svenskeren going back in, Slashing Maelstrom already procs. Svenskeren ready with the assault once again. Hops on and gonna take him down. Don't worry about the 2-level disadvantage. Svenskeren on a rampage.
Svenskeren, we said it at the beginning of the game. He has been an absolute monster carry for Cloud9 here. Summer has been all him, and he's continuing to destroy.
The thing I love about Sven is that he's capable of playing Sejuani. He's capable of getting in there and sacrificing for the team to get in position to win the team fight. But he's also a really good carry player when he wants to be, and this is a carry game from Svenskeren.
All right, tower gonna go down off the back of that kill as well. Licorice pushing through with the Neeko fully opened up top side of the map now with all those towers going down. Golden Guardians trying to answer here on the bottom side, but they're not going to have the same sort of pushing power without getting some sort of kill to knock through the tower. So they're going to have to put a stop to it there and just kind of farm out a couple of the camps instead. He gets Wolves and the Gromp in payment.
Well, Cloud9 off to a nice lead, but double mountain there for GGS, and still plenty of structures to try and knock down to collect a bit of that standing gold. Means that game is, despite well ahead for Cloud9, certainly not out of reach by any means for the Golden Guardians, but definitely looking for Hauntzer to make more of an impact in the next team fight. Does have the Gunblade now finished. Yes, Licorice is working on the Twin Shadows, but a good Kennen ulti turns around any team fight as Froggen. Nice catcher onto Sneaky, might continue, walls him off. Well, that's going to be an easy Featherstorm used there by Sneaky, but Froggen has just cornered his opponent. No flash and no hope left for Sneaky. Going to try and find it out, but Froggen gets a solo kill.
Froggen is so good. Not to mention just Anivia. No, Froggen is just so good. But on Anivia as well, knows full cooldowns, full ranges of everything. Obviously, he's been playing the champion for 8 years. But that was actually just so nice. Over the wall, out of the fog of war, finds the solo kill very easily on Sneaky. You know, walks up through, expecting the ultimate to come down. And that is going to be a huge window for Golden Guardians because, once again, we re-illustrate, when he picks Anivia, they look for Siege. Anivia is so good at towers. That's why Deftly has gone lethal. Whoop, lethality here with the Varus build. Full lethality is pretty much online right now with the Ghost Blade and the extra serrated Dirk, so you just siege up, you fire arrows like that. If they do hit, it forces recalls. Nisqy already on the Azir, going back to base, and the Golden Guardians, they're significantly down in gold, but they're making plays for themselves. Froggen on the Anivia, definitely landing skill shots in mid lane.
I love the coordination between, you know, Froggen trying to line up the walls and the slows and definitely trying to line up the arrows. We even saw it, as you mentioned, in the Drake pit for Golden Guardians to pick up their first mountain. So poke always been a good answer to Azir. But Cloud9 have looked good in the 4v4/5v5 fights. Golden Guardians keep playing their poke game. Zeyzal, good by half your health bar.
Yeah, I mean, you can go, oh my goodness, that's so much poke damage, but Zeyzal's playing Lux, and that goes both ways. You just gotta dodge the skill shot, he gets it!
Done. Oh, that's the Arcane Comet! Good enough for a shutdown as Svenskeren going in, perhaps a little too deep. It's a lot too deep as Olaf able to grab the shutdown. Hauntzer does TP down, but Infernal Drake, not a bad one to be present for.
Yeah, that's not how that works. If your teammate gets killed, that's not the call to go all in. And they kill Zeyzal, immediate answer there.
Licorice does get 2 flashes, I believe. No, just 1.
Yeah, got Deftly.
Oh, it was 2.
Deftly's and Contractz. Because the ultimate was down for Contractz from that fight, so he had to use his summoner spell to get out of it. Definitely high value for Licorice there off the back of the dragon. But this is Golden Guardians fighting their way back into a game where C9 had such a big lead. And it comes off the back of skill shots. Definitely landed it early on. Then Svenskeren tries to go all in on Froggen. Gets hit by the ultimate from the Varus this time around. Roots him up so he cannot get his own ultimate off. Cannot answer. And that is Golden Guardians with kills on top of an objective. 3 dragons now for themselves.
Only 1,000 gold ahead from Cloud9. I think you can pretty much write off the gold lead as it currently stands. So we'll look to continue to see how the teams execute around the map. Cloud9 still with a nice map lead because of the turrets they've taken, but with the siege power of the Varus and the Anivia, I don't expect that advantage to hold for very long.
Definitely a strong resurgence here from the Golden Guardians. Ooh, man, lethality builds full operation here. The Duskblade was completed. There you go. Now it's full operation. As soon as that one gets done, Zeyzal cannot get hit by more than one of those. Nisqy does get the last auto there on the blue buff in the battle of the mid laners.
Well, Froggen will take the compensation drop, does get it away from Svenskeren. Interesting to see them in side lanes now, I guess, wanting the marksman in the mid lane to shoot the turret there on the Golden Guardian side. Hauntzer spots a control ward, will shoot that one down. And the Cloud9 have to respect the power of this Varus, so safe with the Tahm Kench by his side. Gonna start poking down the turret here.
Yeah, they kind of need Anivia with them to really have the full safety, though. So I'm very optimistic about this attempt from Cloud9, but definitely dodges. Really nice sidestep there on Zeyzal. That was very important. If that hits, that's a dead... actually, Tahm Kench was right next to him. Never mind. Olleh could probably just devour him.
Certainly better to dodge and potentially die. A sneaky hitting a nice Q there from Deftly. Cloud9 trying to set something up here. You can see Svenskeren in air quotes. Licorice disguises the jungler. Could be a flank opportunity here for Neeko.
Those work so well with casting because you're going to have to verbalize it every single time.
I think I started playing Neeko to mainly not get confused.
Uh-huh.
But that turns out she's a great, really fun champion.
Dodging simulator, initiate.
Yep.
Everybody looking to dodge these skill shots. Couple of them landing here, but the one that sticks does more damage from Froggen.
Double stun, again, with the Q from Deftly, well coordinated there to almost 100-0 Svenskeren. The real one.
No air quotes this time around. Definitely, you can see the damage that comes through from his skill shots, but Froggen finds these little brush attempts, continually weaving his way out of Fog of War. We saw it on the bottom half of the map where he killed Nisqy solo by himself over the wall. This one around waiting in the pixel brush to get a double stun into a huge health chunk. C9 pushing mid though while Froggen is topside. They know without the Anivia, that's their opening.
Yeah, and they do get the turret. Twin Shadows pop there for some bit of coverage there by Licorice. But still trades being made. Svenskeren back nice and healthy after going through his jungle to get some HP back, and Nisqy gonna take a recall. Looks like item number 2 may be ready here. In fact, both mid laners charging up pretty quickly. Rotovator's almost fully ticked up for Froggen. Seraph's is transformed there for him as well, and has that bonus needlessly large rod also available. So whenever the next team fight does break out, it's gonna be fairly dramatic.
I've seen a lot of damage in this game, Pastry, and not a lot of life. So that
means
means
much shorter team fights than last game.
Yeah, it'll be much shorter team fights, and they might not even be team fights. They might literally be 2 skill shots just landed off screen, and someone is dead now. Because we have so many champions building full damage here. Not to mention all of the laners, but also the junglers. The only tank here is really Olleh, the Tahm Kench, and we've actually seen him make good use of the thick skin. There goes a couple of skill shots and half of the Azir's health. Once again, really nice positioning by Froggen, finding a spot over the wall on the high ground.
I like the cooldown boots here as well for Deftly. This is like a very classic mid lane Azir build. I've seen far too much Varus versus Azir in my lifetime. That was oh boy, the LPL loved that for about a full year. But I mean, it's effective again. As you said, no real tanks. Every bit of poke is so precious, and Golden Guardian's still behind, but it's not going to last that much longer. I mean, they really want the mid lane outer turret, which is why they're sticking so many people here to try and take it down. But it's kind of only a matter of time unless Cloud9 can find a really aggressive flank angle for a full-on engage.
All right, teleport comes in from Sneaky. 4 members from C9 grouping around mid. Maybe it's the defense. Oh, deep teleport from Licorice. I believe it's still going through. Oh, he's behind them. Are they going to chase him into Licorice?
It's not Svenskeren, it is Licorice. Twin Shadows pop, going to root down Froggen. There's a good catch if they can get it. Pop also in, finds it, gets a 3-man root. And there's Olleh on the front side, will be taken down. Chain of Corruption there to try and disengage. A sneaky ults down the Anivia.
I saw the teleport on that ward, but Golden Guardians did not. They don't get the benefit of a full map view, Pastry time. That was the teleport to turn this game. A game-winning teleport earns C9 Baron. Actually, such a big swinging point. Teleports from Golden Guardians come in. They actually want to fight it. They do have Hauntzer's ult and flash.
Contractz also here, ready with a smite, has the flash as well. Might just be an attempt to steal. Zeyzal getting chunked down so hard, but Nisqy looks for the engage on her Deftly, who flashed out of the way. And Nisqy winning ultimate as he goes into stasis. Baron is so low, Svenskeren about to run out of health, but he somehow gets the Baron. But Contractz gonna cut down everybody else. Deftly finds the final shot for the ace.
Oh my goodness. Hauntzer says, I'll do you one better, Licorice. Teleports in himself and lays it down. That is an ace for the Golden Guardians. And once again, we will have a very large negative Baron power play as they were immediately killed after taking that objective.
Maybe it doesn't count if they don't have Baron. They all died, so they don't have it anymore. As Golden Guardian's going to take the Drake and the two turrets there in mid.
Whew. All right, let's take another look at it because look at that ward. You see on the mini-map is where we saw Svenskeren teleported in on the Raptors, or excuse me, Licorice. He flashes in, gets a big ultimate, so they get 2 kills for themselves with the egg, taking down the passive like, oh, perfect. We got the extra kills, head straight for Baron. But the Golden Guardians don't give up on the play, and Nisqy, I think, it is a mistake to go for the offensive Azir ultimate, because the only way Golden Guardians win this 3v5 is the Kennen. And they go offensive with the Azir ultimate, the Azir flash, then they had someone else's flash right there, didn't even see it. Both of those offensively mean that Hauntzer has a clear path into the entire team. And that is a Golden Guardians 3v5 victory inside Baron Pit because C9 looked for the offensive play rather than trying to save that Azir flash and ultimate to try and kick Kennen out when he went for the inevitable initiation.
And this is the journey we've been on to get the game back to even in gold. Golden Guardians finally collect some turrets, they'll even that up, and now again, back down to how the teams execute. Golden Guardians looking good in these last few skirmishes. It almost feels like Cloud9 are getting frustrated with this long siege, and that's something Froggen's been doing on Anivia for a very long time. But again, it's up to Licorice, it's up to Nisqy, perhaps, to find either binds coming from their supports or looking for those flanks, because Cloud9 can't really win a team fight any other way.
Yeah, Golden Guardians are split right now, but they're defending. Svenskeren just gets chunked by Froggen. As soon as Hauntzer showed in the mid lane, that Kennen, it looked like C9 were gonna go for something, but immediately stuffed by the Anivia. You mentioned, one of the biggest strengths of this champion is defensive siege right there. You try and engage on the Anivia, Froggen is so good at stuffing those.
Again, soldiers go out, and Nisqy trying to wave clear as efficiently as he can. Svenskeren back to full health, but that control ward still going to spot him out. Licorice also in the front side getting rooted up, and there's a stun onto Nisqy. Massive amount of damage as the Redemption going to keep Golden Guardians rolling forward. They'll take down the turret.
What year is it, pastry time? Are we about to see more Anivia bans enter the LCS?
Maybe.
Because that right there, Froggen's able to corner Nisqy, chunk out the enemy mid laner once again, and it earns them a tower. Game is still so close, though.
Svenskeren, not a good spot to be standing in. Tunnels out of the way, under the wall, though.
All right, who's next going to be caught? Here we have a light binding. Not quite the same impact, but it's going to chunk Contractz down to 50% here. Golden Guardians trying to keep the siege up while they've got blue buff on Froggen. Really does give him so much power, to look for all of these plays. It looks like that will be it.
Well, Cloud9, we're ahead. The game evens back up, and Golden Guardians take a slight lead. Curious to see how they navigate the rest of this game. Certainly a team that, despite having a lot of impressive moments, is not always the most aggressive, especially in the early game. So they're capable of winning games from behind, but Golden Guardians are making it really difficult with the way they're approaching sieging down these towers.
And you have to look at the tools that are available on both sides. And when Golden Guardians have such strong siege, and they have this poke damage that's coming through, usually the answer to poke damage is hard engaging on those champions, right? The Varus, the Anivia. But they have to deal with Tahm Kench on the other side, keeping them safe, and C9 don't have that great of a hard engage. Barring flashes from Svenskeren and Licorice, they really are such a squishy team comp without, a really easy point-and-click, straightforward maneuver that the Golden Guardians just continue to group up, and you try and force C9 to make an outplay, to make that happen. You say, okay, how many of those teleports do you have in your bag? Licorice got behind us once, that was a great one, but you guys did not capitalize on it strong enough. So how many more of those are you actually going to get? Svenskeren's looking for one of them on the bottom side, but gets seen.
Tahm Kench also coming down. Whistle Voyage into the bot lane. Licorice looking to turn it back around. Great devour there to save Deftly from the Pop Blossom damage. And that's going to be GA lost there as Licorice down with the GLP. Nisqy TP down to try and fight a way out of there. It's a 3v4 for Cloud9. But Contractz looking for Svenskeren as Zeyzal may have roamed in to save the day. Prismatic Barrier out for the shield as Hauntzer diving in there, gets pushed back by the Emperor's Divide. Nisqy still running out of help, but the shield actually going to keep him alive now. Licorice has to get out of there, but he is forced to burn the flash, and Golden Guardians still chasing with the Sun Turret says no.
How did they all live? C9 survived the bottom side collapse. Abyssal Voyage came in, and it was an attempt at a kill there for Golden Guardians trying to chase them down, but everyone on C9 survives. A lot of flashes used. Sneaky, Nisqy, Svenskeren, Licorice, all without flashes now, and without the GA active as well on Svenskeren, but they do live. They survive to fight another day.
And while it is tough to answer the question of how do C9 find a favorable fight, or at least identify that those windows are a lot narrower than perhaps they'd like, certainly if the carries can find targets, Sneaky and Nisqy do so much damage. And you already mentioned it, Deftly peaked 2 items ago. He's peaked again there with Edge of Night and another Serrated Dirt finish, but Varus is not getting better than this.
Yeah. I don't know if he needs to, though.
That's true.
That much lethality versus all of these squishy champions is definitely working for him. I have to say, Cloud9 without flashes, now it's going to be so hard for them to find that play that we're talking about, where they have to have a flank from Licorice, you know, or Svenskeren goes over a wall, because now they don't have the added distance of flash to be able to close. And it is going to be up to Golden Guardians to force the mistake. Now they know that they've burned all those critical flashes and those timers are very long. It is up to the Golden Guardians to make use of this advantage.
Well, Baron is a hot spot for big team fights, and Licorice on the left of your screen is in a very good spot if Golden Guardians recklessly start this Baron. He's actually being very patient here as well. Can you imagine, like, you see a Rek'Sai coming in to steal your Baron and it's actually Licorice killing your whole team with a Pop Blossom?
Yeah, definitely a couple of mind games. Yeah, that's that lethality at work. Very nice shot. Does find Nisqy. And again, no flashes, no teleports either. So he's going to have to go back to base every time Deftly lands one of those arrows.
And if someone's hiding, usually a good way to make them reveal themselves is to threaten their inhibitors, which is exactly what Golden Guardians are doing now. No need to get reckless.
I would also like to point out, by the way, the patience of the jungler here. Svenskeren's been in this spot waiting with Rek'Sai passive for the last minute while Golden Guardians have been poking around, just diligently watching the Baron.
He's dancing!
Svenskeren has joined the Night's Watch, and Baron is his charge, but it's down to 4,000 health, and it's burning down. It's going to die!
Gonna, I guess, just try and steal it at this point. Go in for it, but Contractz able to find the smite. Here's Licorice, maybe gonna find the turnaround there. He's gonna get the lock up there. Svenskeren goes down, but the real Svenskeren tries something. He gets exhausted and obliterated.
It was Licorice all along! Minimap is so hard to keep track of the Neekos. In the end, it was a Golden Guardians burn down on the Baron. And since that was in fact Licorice, they don't have the Rek'Sai passive over there, so there you go. That is gonna be Golden Guardians coming through with the Baron buff. This should be their way to end the game.
Golden Guardians lose both Rek'Sais, and they're going to lose this inhibitor turret as well. Mid-inhib, also not long for this world. Respawn's coming up. 12 for Sven and 20 for Licorice. Not nearly enough wave gear to try and defend this inhib, but can Golden Guardians get more? Looks like they're going to back off towards that Cloud Drake, collect their 5th Drake of the game, and reset. In a different order, but trust me, they'll do all this.
The laundry list got a bit jumbled, but it's about the destination, you know?
The enemy nexus.
It's actually not about the path that you take there. All right, they get the recalls off. They get the reset. Baron buff is the perfect tool for the Anivia Varus combination to siege back up. And now they are fairly tanky, right? The Contractz has transitioned after the Warrior Black Cleaver start, since Olaf does not scale super well into the late game. With that offensive peak, you want to just use it for an early game burst and then go tank. Now he is tanky. Spirit Visage picked up. Yeah, Licorice this time around, wearing the cosplay of Svenskeren, is behind the enemy team. C9 looking for the flank. Will this actually be it?
If C9 have a play, they have to go soon, but Nisqy again, eating that stun, has to zip away from the poke. Licorice being very patient. Oh, now they know what's up.
All right, shows on the minions.
Gonna have to go for it here though. Twin Shadows out. Licorice looking for the pop boss. I'm gonna find two, but Olleh is the one of them caught up. And Svenskeren dives into the backline and actually assassinates the Anivia. There's the ulti out from Lux as GA will resurrect Sven. But Froggen back as well with the Ag Nisqy, trying to push the Kennen away. But Contractz unstoppable. Nisqy dead. And Golden Guardians find 4 kills.
Froggen flashes over his own wall to try and run down Zeyzal. They're heading straight for mid lane here. Olleh, Abyssal Voyage inside, and he's gonna cut him off.
No way really for Lux to get back safely. Tongue Lash lands there for Olleh, who's just gonna buy time as the rest of the team storm towards the Nexus. Olleh, the Portal of Combat fights the 1v1, and Golden Guardians will hand Cloud9 their first loss of the summer.